Hi, Taraji.
Hi.
Thank you so much for joining Healthline today. As editor-in-chief of Psych Central, I'm just so honored that you're using your tremendous platform for mental health advocacy. It's something that's deeply personal to me, and it's also obviously what I do day to day. So I'm really looking forward to what we have to chat about today.
Yes.
So you founded the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation in 2018 in honor of your father to help break the stigma of mental illness, particularly in Black communities. Tell us about your father and why honoring him in this way was so important to you.
Just my dad was an open book, and he wasn't afraid to face his demons. He was very open about his struggles. And I guess he felt, I know he felt that by sharing, by sharing his struggles, he would save people from making the same mistakes he made. And I just think that's what we're here to do as humans. There's this song, People Make the World Go Round. And I used to listen to that as a kid. And it makes sense. That's why I always say, if you have a story to tell it, especially survivors. If you survive something, you must tell your story. People are struggling out here.
You've been so transparent about your own battle with anxiety and depression. Being such a driven and strong Black woman, was that difficult for you to confront?
It wasn't difficult. Remember, I had my dad as the roadmap.
Yeah.
I guess for me it was freeing, and I felt like our community needed someone they trusted to say, "Hey, you're not the only one. Look, I know you," because I think the misconception is that celebrities, once we start making money, problems just magically disappear. Oh, listen. From the great guru and poet Biggie Smalls, more money means more problems. Sometimes the money amplifies your problems. If you're a person like me who suffers from anxiety and depression, being looked at, every little thing in your life being looked at and monitored under a microscope, only heightens your anxiety. So how does this success make that go away?
Yeah.
I just felt like, if I said something, imagine how many people will feel like, oh my God, well, if it's okay for her to speak about it, then it's okay for me to speak about it.
What was the first step you took to getting help? And did you face any stigma?
Finding the perfect therapist. Perfect. Finding the therapist that's right for me. And you got to remember, therapy, you have to look at that like relationships. I know, but you do, because it's not like you magically find the therapist, you open up the yellow book. I'm telling my age, I don't care. You Google, therapist, and you find one and boom, they set you free. No, it's like chemistry. Some therapists aren't going to work. So you just have to keep searching and loving yourself enough until you find the one that, like my therapist, when I get a breakthrough, I'm like, ooh, I can't wait to call her and tell her this. You know what I mean? And it's until you have that synergy with a therapist, you haven't found the right one. You have to. It's imperative that you feel safe, because that's why cultural competency is so important when it comes to dealing with the Black community and mental health, because we already have issues. We got trust issues across the board, understandably so. So in order for us to even seek therapy or to feel like we can even begin a conversation, we must feel safe.
So what is cultural competency, and why is it so important to healthcare, particularly mental health care?
Well, with the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation, we definitely vet therapists across the country. We have a resource guide where, because it's hard. And I think, I looked at the pandemic as a blessing, because what I'm working on in my life is controlling the things that I can, right? And what I can't control is turning what appears to be a negative thing to a positive, because it's all here. So with the pandemic, I needed it. I was never going to slow down. Who knows what I was headed to health-wise, the way I work. So that, and then, with the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation, we were able to provide virtual therapy to people who would have never gone to therapy ever in life, right? And so what it did was it made, for those who never, ever thought they would try therapy ever, made it appealing because you're not walking into an office. You don't have to hide. No, your next door neighbor is not going to catch you going to see a shrink. There is no weird, I'm in this sterile office. You're in the comforts of your own home. And we've done the research for you. We have found and pooled together all of these culturally competent therapists. And when I say culturally competent, I don't mean Black, because I've gone to a therapist who was Black and was missed the mark all the way. And I've met some incredibly credible therapists, culturally competent therapists who were not Black. That's just understanding a group's struggles. As long as you understand that and you make me feel safe, I'll open up and we can have a great session. You can help me, give me some tools to, battle some of these things that I'm going through. But like I said, the pandemic was a blessing because I think we kicked through a ceiling that in mental health in our community that has kept us suffering. And I'm grateful for that, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you raised that about this period being difficult for everyone, because I don't think there's enough acknowledgement of that. I mean, this is a tough time, to be isolated, to be facing this illness. I mean, there are a lot of reasons to be having a tough time right now. And I think we should all give ourselves permission, to be going through that. So your foundation has an actionable commitment to the youth. When I visited your site, the first thing that stood out to me was this beautiful image of a young boy in a striped shirt, but it was paired with the statistic that the suicide rates amongst Black youth have nearly doubled since the early 90s. And as a mom, it just hit me. I mean, just so scary and so troubling. Can you tell me a little bit about your work with the youth?
Okay, we're doing so much. We are providing 100 mental health support groups for young people between the ages of 12 and 22 across the nation. We provide culturally competent therapists over the course of 6 weeks. We're also offering individual therapy sessions for young people where they receive 5 free sessions each. We're working with schools, middle schools, high school, and HBCUs on providing free mental health resources. And during Mental Health Awareness Month, we are launching a national awareness campaign to focus on the youth and the impact of mental health within the educational system.
So you have a show, Peace of Mind, streaming on Facebook. I've been binging it. And for those who haven't watched it, it's amazing. It tackles the mental health stigma in the Black community. Tell us about your goals for the show and why you chose this platform.
The show is focusing on the Black community and everything dealing with mental health. And what we started to notice is we don't know the lingo. We don't know the definitions. We don't know the words. So it's giving the audience an insight to what these words and these terminology, what they really mean and what it looks like. So informational. I learned so much.
Mental health education is such an important piece of it. I know in my current role, I feel like I'm just learning so much, and it's so important to have the right terminology to describe how you're feeling, how your family's feeling. So it is so important. So just tell me a little bit more about what's next for you with your advocacy work.
Okay, well, we're going to continue to normalize this conversation. We're going to continue to eradicate the stigma. We want to break down the walls of what strength looks like, because I think, the facade of what strength looks like, especially for my people, for our people, for the Black community, because we've had to be so strong. And what I want us to know is that strength is in the vulnerability. Strength, there is so much strength that comes from, I don't know how to do this, or I'm scared, or you know what, I just don't feel like it today. That's strength, because you had the strength to speak your truth.
Strength is in the vulnerability. Strength is in, I just want to say it again, it's the vulnerability. That's
yes.
Taraji, thank you so much for joining Healthline today. As a mental health advocate in my current role, I am just so humbled that you're using your platform in this tremendous way. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, you as well. God bless you all and all the work that it takes a village. It takes all of us. So thank you. Let's continue to have these conversations.
Yeah, absolutely.